You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Let's talk about this story here. The first black woman elected to serve as a judge in Louisiana's 16th Judicial District has come under fire for speaking out against racial injustice. Last month, the 16th Judicial District Attorney's Office in New Iberia, Louisiana, began requesting that Lori Landry be recused from pending criminal cases on the grounds that she is biased or prejudiced against this office, such that she cannot be fair or impartial. Since then, the situation has escalated. As of Wednesday, Landry was facing more than 300 virtually identical motions asking that she be reportedly removed from upcoming cases. Some examples being used against Landry are comments she reportedly made from the bench, such as, "Black men do not survive traffic stops with the police." Fact. Wow. She also said that officers use the habitual offender statute selectively, which disproportionately puts black people in more harm or risk than anyone else. Landry, herself a former prosecutor, was first elected to the bench in 2002 after spending nearly 9 years at the same DA's office that is now accusing her of unfair treatment. Landry cannot hear or decide on cases while the motion to remove her is being considered. I want to start with you, Johanna. Here's what is happening across this country. And the Trump Justice Department, they are leaders in this. Progressive voices in criminal justice are being targeted. Let me say it again. Progressive voices are being targeted. You have Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore, targeted by cops, targeted by Republicans. Aramis Ayala, the first black state's attorney in Florida, she said, "I am not going to prosecute death penalty cases." Then Florida Governor Rick Scott removed cases from her. In fact, what's happening, go back to Maryland, right now, Governor Larry Hogan has ordered the Attorney General in Baltimore, a Democrat, to take more of the cases from Marilyn Mosby under the guise that she supposedly isn't prosecuting them. The Pennsylvania Attorney General is targeting Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner. I can go on and on and on. And in fact, it was William Barr who went before a police organization a few weeks ago and actually said that these progressive district DAs and judges are causing harm. They want to keep locking people up, and they don't want progressive voices like Judge Landry on the bench, Johanna.
Here's my position on this. When Judge Landry won the election, me and my friends, we were extremely excited because, as you know, Louisiana has one of the most oppressive legal systems in America when it comes to people of color. So we thought that perhaps we were going to get someone on the bench who will do some good and protect the rights. Well, not protect the rights, because a judge, your job is to interpret the law, right? Not to be an advocate. So here's my problem here, right? There is a fine line between advocacy and being a judge. Again, as a judge, your job is to interpret the law. And because she has been so vocal about injustices in the system, and for example, that quote you just shared with us about men when they're stopped by the police officer, and usually they don't get it's never fair, right? So as a judge, you have to be very careful because you have to always appear to be impartial. You have to appear to be neutral. So when you speak those things out loud, people now know where you stand. And motions such as these could be filed to get you recused from certain cases. Now, had it been a white judge or someone who was racist making racist comments, the same motions would have been filed. So again, I think it's good that you have a progressive judge on the bench, but however, we must be mindful because there is a fine line between advocacy and being a judge, and you have to be impartial.
Nah, but here's the deal, Cleo. You can make comments as a judge, but it's not a situation unless you are ruling on a particular case. You can be a judge and speak about exactly what's happening in the criminal justice system. That's not what they're saying. They're not saying that she has incorrectly ruled in cases. They're saying, we don't like your comments.
Well, the motion was filed because she is perceived to not be neutral or not being impartial.
No, that's not what I said. No, that's not. No. the motion was filed specifically related to comments. The motion was not filed as related to rulings from the bench in specific cases.
But those comments could lead to her not being impartial.
No, hold up. You can't say comments could lead to something unless it leads to something. So unless, again, if they said, Cleo, that she incorrectly ruled in this case, she applied the law incorrectly, they then can appeal that decision. They then can actually take her up for judicial misconduct. That's not what they're doing here. Right. That's the difference, Johanna.
That's the
Cleo,
difference.
go ahead.
And just because you acknowledge a statistical fact where people that look like you are getting mistreated does not mean you're going to be inappropriate when it comes to making legal decisions. No. And the assumption is that if you have a perspective that's even true around issues relevant to race, you become suspect. And that's racist. Right. And what she's dealing with here is racism. I just hope that there's enough support around her, whether it's community people or other judiciaries, that will help support this woman, because once you get on the wrong side of bureaucracies that are white, you can lose.
No turning back.
So I hope that she has support, but I want to reiterate the fact that just because you have a perspective that's based on fact does not mean you don't have the clarity and the lack of, what's the word that you have to have? You have to have no bias. Doesn't mean that you don't have bias, or that you do have bias, I should say, when you're making legal decisions. This is racist.
Julian, there's a black federal judge who gave a speech talking about Donald Trump and some of these decisions. He's a federal judge. He was speaking about these issues. Just because a person is a judge does not mean they cannot make comments about what is happening in the criminal justice system. But you are, as a judge, you are judged based upon the application of the law.
I think the judge is right for what she's saying. I think she just went about it the wrong way. As a judge, you got to kind of stay impartial in making comments on certain things. Granted, she has a front row seat as far as the cases that are being tried versus Caucasian men, with cases that are being tried versus African-American men. If you take the same charge and see, okay, a Caucasian male is receiving a lesser sentence, but an African-American male is receiving a more harsher sentence, yes, she can make that assumption, but at the same time, a person in her seat, I think she could have figured out a better way and play chess with it and see, okay, how can I advocate this without putting myself in the spotlight in a negative way? So now you run the risk of they're filing a motion to have you removed, and they're bringing up about 300 plus cases against you that you've already sided over. So, yes, she's entitled to express.
No. They're not bringing up 300 cases she decided over. They're bringing up these 300 motions that are nearly identical. What they're trying to do is they're trying to game the system to keep her off of the bench. That's what they're trying to do.
And this is not the first time we've seen this. And we saw this with the ambassador, with AU ambassador to the United States. When you are in certain positions, you cannot be an advocate. You are to...
No, Johanna, there's a difference.
That's
just Johanna, hold on, wait 1 second.
Being an advocate.
1 second. 1 second. We're going to deal with facts here. The person who is the ambassador, that is an appointed position. Appointed. This is an elected position. She was chosen by the people. That distinction must be made.
I think it's important that we look at the fact that some of us and some people in the system want black people to walk around on eggshells and be self-conscious and not express even factual information that shows that they know how race incidents occurs in this country, and that we have to keep on looking at both sides of the room and second-guess ourselves. And I don't think that makes any sense or is fair.
But the fact of the matter is we need more and more progressive judges on the bench. There is no denying that. But I think as professionals, we have to understand there is a fine line between advocacy and upholding the law.
But that ain't advocacy. But to say that Trayvon Martin got shot by Zimmerman is not advocacy.
But is she wrong for what she said, though? Is she wrong for what she said? So it's not what she said, it's how she said it.
Because she said it in English.
But she could have done it a different way to the point where she doesn't make herself a target.
I think
she could have done it a different way where she does not make herself a target.
Actually,
you have to be strategic.
I disagree.
Roland, she could have done it a different way where she's not making herself a target.
No.
Do you agree?
Now, here's the deal, though. You can say it. Because here's why. because of what's actually happening right now, progressive DAs and judges who have said things in the right way, who have said them very softly, who said them respectfully, other forms, are still being targeted and attacked. So the issue is not that, oh, how she said it or where she said it. It's the fact that she is calling out the DA's office. And that's what they don't like. And let's keep in mind, this is a woman who served in that office. What is clear here is there are people who she worked with in that office, and what she is doing is calling them out for how they are targeting people. I'll give you an example. In New York, they passed a law to impact their bail system. They found there's an audio recording of a prosecutor explaining to people how to skirt the rules in order to keep people in jail longer. That's what's happening, and so that's what you're dealing with. We got to be honest. If there are people in DA's office who want to be judges, who want to be for higher office, who use the prosecution of largely black people to advance their careers, and they don't want somebody calling out that because that, they believe, impacts their rise. And that, to me, I think is what's going on here. Final comment before I go to a break.
Mosby is in trouble because Mosby had corrupt police officers arrested. And she broke the line by being in her position and arresting police, and she's under very similar scrutiny.
Nailed
Last
it.
comment.
Simple as that.
Last comment. Let's be more strategic in our approach moving forward.
Let's go buy some eggshells
Perhaps.
and travel around with a bunch of eggshells.
I think it's a certain way you have to do things.
Obviously, I mean
For white folks.
She just has to be more strategic in
For
her
white
approach
folks.
and utilize her power in a more decisive way to where she can perhaps
Not offend
offset
white
the sentences
folks.
to make it fair and reasonable for everybody, so it's not just African
But she
American
is fair
males.
and reasonable.
Calling it out is one thing, but you got to have a solution.
right.
How you gonna fix
I
that?
acknowledge racism. I'm fair and decent to everybody.
If you call it out, what's the solution? If you call it what it is and it's wrong, what is the solution? That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Well, one of the solutions.
She calling
is
it out, but what's the
one of the
solution?
solutions-
If you
one
calling
of the-
it out, what
one
is
of
the solution?
Calling
One
it out
of
is
the
important
solutions.
because
I understand
One
that.
of the solutions.
Repress the facts of life.
I'm not
Let me
debating
say
that.
it.
I'm not
I
debating
can
it.
answer your question. Excuse me. One of the solutions is by calling it out, by putting them on notice, by saying, if you sit here and keep playing games with the criminal justice system, I'm going to keep calling you out and exposing you. That is a solution. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Yep. All right, folks. Life Lux Jazz Experience taking place in Cabo, November 7th through the 11th next week. Yours truly will be there. We want you to be there as well. Go to lifeluxjazz.com, LIFELUXEJAZZ.com. 14 acts: Gerald Albright, Kirk Whalum, Average White Band, Shalea, Ronnie Laws. I mean, it's going to be jam-packed. Now, here's the deal. If you can't go, I understand. But you can also participate by getting the live streaming pass from GFNTV.com, GFNTV.com. $10.99, you'll get to see all of the concerts over the course of 3 days. It's fantastic. Oh, did I tell you that GFNTV.com, black owned? Yeah, as well. And so also, Life Love Jazz Experience, black owned. A sister created this to provide an opportunity for African Americans who live in a lot of these cold states, even though climate change has screwed that sucker up, to opportunity, of course, to hang out in Mexico for 4 days and have a great time. I'll be doing Roland Martin Unfiltered there next Thursday and Friday from Cabo, but you can experience the concerts by going to GFNTV.com and getting your live streaming pass. So please do so, and we look forward to checking it out. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.